All right, let's do this. So the title of this video, I am 27. I see myself as a success, which I am, and you should too always see yourself as a success. But in the views of society, in the eyes of my society, I am probably a failure. I am unemployed. I am, no job, uh, skinny. I don't know. I don't know what people see me as, to be honest, but there is a lot of pressure. So a little bit about myself. My name is Harjot Singh. I am born and raised in Hong Kong, but I uh, am from a Punjabi family. So, we are, I suppose, I'm the fourth or the fifth generation in Hong Kong in a Punjabi family. The religion my family follows is Sikhism. And so that's just kind of my upbringing. And when I was born, I was, like right after I was born, my parents were, my dad was new here. He was an immigrant from India. My mom was the Punjabi in Hong Kong. So once my dad married my mom, so now my dad can move out of the village. That's the whole kind of life for Indians, to be honest, where they just want to escape India to get opportunities in another country, migrate somewhere. That's why there's so many Indians in and Punjabis in UK, in Canada, in the US. There's just so many of them. I have this umbrella with me because I'm protecting myself from the sun. I used to skateboard a lot for like 12 hours a day when I was a teen, around, when I was 16, 17 years old. I had a lot of depression and anxiety, and I'll get into that. But I used to skateboard for hours on end because while I was on my skateboard, that was the only time I actually felt comfortable or I felt free. I felt, the weight of expectations. Like I felt like a bird. I'm flying around, and I used to just skate all day. And then because of that, I got melasma here on my face. I got these dark patches on my face because of just too much exposure to the UV from the sun. And so right now I'm protecting myself from it. And now I even have to, in a way, get treatment, get laser surgery, which costs quite a bit. I have to get that surgery done if I want this removed, which I will be getting removed. And made a down payment and a deposit at one of these laser companies, this facial company, to actually help me out. Uh, and so, coming back to the story, I was, raised in India for the first 5, 6 years of my life. That's where I was kind of. Once I was born in Hong Kong, my parents, or I would say my dad, probably was not capable or didn't have the means or the resources to really take care of me in that way. And Hong Kong is a very, very expensive place. It still is. It's the most expensive city in the world. It's always competing with Singapore up and down a little bit, but Hong Kong is very, very expensive to live in. And so what happened was that as a child, I was just sent to India, and like I was sent to a village. That's where my dad is from. So at that time, it's still a very small, very, very small village, maybe 100 people. Um, and if not even, I think it's even less than 100 people in the village. A very small, not a very rich place, just a very poor, small village in a part of Punjab. And so I spent my first 5 to 6 years of my life, once I was born in Hong Kong, I spent my life there. So for the first 5 to 6 years, I did not even know my real parents, because to me, as that baby, my parents were my grandmother, who was the one taking care of me in India, and then my chacha, which is basically uncle, my dad's younger brother. The I saw these two people as my parents. Like they were my mom and dad. That's how I saw it. I didn't know any better. And then one day, suddenly, the story breaks, and my grandma tells me that, hey, actually, I am not your mother. And then she showed me these photos of two people, and then she's like, this is your mother and this is your father. Uh, and and she said, they're gonna come and take you home. And I was like, what do you mean they're gonna take me home? This is my home. You're my mother. Uh, and this is where I belong. This is my home. But she's like, no, actually, I'm not your mother. I'm your grandmother. I'm your dadi. But and this is not your home. You don't really belong here. Your home is back home. Oh, and by the way, you have a brother too. You have a younger brother. um, and so you can imagine, as a 5-year old, 6-year old, my world was completely destroyed. My world was completely broken into pieces. I didn't know what's real anymore. I didn't know what's true anymore. I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know who to believe. And so, since the beginning, just from this kind of story, I kind of developed this insecurity, this feeling of I can't be loved, I can't be secure, there's no safety. As a child, I was not safe at all. There was just so much pressure and stress, and like I have to survive on my own, because like, who do I trust? Who can I believe? What is real? What is true? And then, when I come back to Hong Kong, and now suddenly, here I am. There's no freedom. We lived on the 40th floor. So I've never been so high up in my life. Like, we had like a villa type house back at home. It was not a villa, but it was a, houses are bigger in rural areas. Like, you have like a bigger house, bigger rooms. But in Hong Kong, it wasn't the case. It was just a small, tiny little house, 40 floors up. Everybody speaking Chinese. I don't even speak English, so everybody is either speaking Chinese or English. I speak neither. I am just speaking Punjabi, which is all I knew at that time. And then, I have the mannerisms of village people. I've lived the village life up to this point. And so I don't know anything about the Hong Kong modern, industrialized, commercialized, service-driven economy, that kind of world. I didn't really know that, schooling and all this stuff. And so then really began a new journey. But in a way, I started my life really not from zero, but like -100 in a way, because now I was this 6-year-old, 5-year-old who was insecure, who was anxious, who was depressed, who had lost sense of identity. And, just speaking about it, it's kind of rough. I feel for that version of myself, that child me. I really do. Like, fuck, man, that was tough. And it is what it is, right? It is the way of the world. And so when I did come back to Hong Kong, now I have to get used to having a younger brother. I'm the older brother, so now he's my responsibility, and I have to, watch for that. And, I have to now change my mannerisms to be professional, be, sharp, and be polite, and be, not witty. And, because in the village, the kind of, and in Punjab, the way we speak, the language, it's very metaphorical, it's very poetic, it's very indirect, and there's a lot of nuanced meaning. It's like I can say one thing, but I'm also saying another thing. That's how Punjabi works, really. And that can oftentimes come out as an insult. Even now, I listen to some other Punjabi people back home or stuff, and I feel that sense of like, oh, this is a taunt. He's trying to trigger me, and like, I sense that. So there is that almost evilness, if you want it to be there, And so I was this witty kid. I was this, I would have a quick response. I would have a quick, like, I was quick. I was witty. I was sharp like that. Like, you couldn't really mess with me in terms of like talking. But then when I come back here, it's now suddenly a issue of be professional, be polite, don't offend anybody, be in the norms, be in the circle, So this whole time in India, I'm free. I'm not in any box. I'm not boxed into anything. But now suddenly I have to be, go to school. This is your school timing. You have to go to school. You have to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to wear a tie and shirt, and you have to learn English. You have to learn Chinese. You have to, do all these things. And so my life just kind of began this way in Hong Kong, and I spent the rest of my life in Hong Kong for, the next maybe 20 years. About 20 years. And what really happened was that this entire time, so I spent about 2 decades just being depressed, anxious, and all these later on in my life, once I really got older and become more mature and as an adult, like I started doing more healing work and, working on all these therapy and going to the mental hospital and meeting psychiatrists. Um, I really then started developing this healing journey and started healing all this stuff. And now I would say I'm very much further along. I've healed a lot. And in a way, that is why I call myself a massive success, because I could have easily just still been depressed, still been anxious, still been, you know, suppressed by society and expectations and trying to be under the pressure of adults and like doing what they say, because that's what a lot of people around me are doing. Parents say, hey, go get a job. They'll go get a job. No questions asked, even though they hate it. Most people around me hate their lives and their jobs. And they're just struggling. They're unfit. They're not healthy. They're drinking. They're smoking. Um, and and they're stressed out. Hong Kong is such a stressful place. It's all about money. By the end of the month, we got to pay mortgages, we got to pay rent, we got to pay food, we got to pay school fees, we got to pay tuition, there's all this, just so much running around, so much chasing, so much money is the only thing. Money is God, right? Like that is Hong Kong culture. Very fast, very high, speedy, very fast paced. Climb the ladder, and then when you go into society, it's like, what do you do for work? And then if you don't do something high status, if you're not a doctor, you're not a lawyer, then it's like, oh, you're just a useless piece of shit. Like, and you're kind of looked down on, like, no, you have no value, no worth. Like, that's kind of my experience with Hong Kong per se, and just the expectations. And so I kind of went a very different route, where I spent my entire high school life and just school life very depressed, very anxious, isolated from everybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was scared. I couldn't trust anybody. I didn't know who to talk to, what to do. And so I really got lost in my own head. And so there was just this negative loop and pattern all the time. And I still remember to this day, like, I remember the first time I came across positive thinking or manifestation. No, it was not manifestation. I came across more so positive thinking. And so for the first time, I thought of being positive for the first time. Like, I had a positive thought. And it was so unique to me. I think I was probably 15 at this time, 14, 15, when I had one positive thought. And that positive thought was so weird, so unordinary, so out of my reality, that I thought, wait, what the hell is this? Like, because I was only having negative thoughts. Like, the only thoughts in my head were negative. I was only stressed. I was only depressed. I was only anxious. I was only thinking negative things. I was always fearful. I was always afraid and scared and, worried. Like, I had and I was shamed. I felt so much shame. I felt so much embarrassment. Like, these were the kind of spectrum of emotions that I lived in for 2 decades. And, and what happened was, this first time when I had this positive thought, it was so out of the ordinary. It was so different. And it felt so weird. And I was like, what the hell? And so again, one thought and then back to the negative thinking, right? Because negative thinking was all I knew. And we as humans, we become used to what we know. And so I knew that negative thinking is all I knew. That is what I knew. That is all I knew. So that positive thought was like almost an imposter. It was almost what is this? Who is this? What kind of thought is this? I can't be thinking like that. I can't be thinking positive, because if I think positive, like, the child version of me was just trying to hold on, like I get to see it now. Like, the child version of me was just trying to protect himself by being so negative, because it had gone through such a negative experience for himself that now it was just holding on to negativity just to protect itself from further disappointment, from further pain. But what ended up happening was, for 2 decades, I just ended up causing myself pain and suffering, because I was trying to not repeat that same process that I felt at 5 years old, that experience that I had. I didn't want that again. But in a way, I created that experience for 2 decades, for 20 years. I lived that way, as if I am going to be removed from my family. My parents are going to ditch me, and I don't have parents, and where am I gonna go? How am I gonna survive? I'm just this little kid. I don't even make money. I can't even work a job. What am I gonna do? And so I was just always stressed out because I never felt safe and secure as a kid, as a child. And this led to primary, to high school. And so I was always a very, very skinny kid because I wasn't eating. Eating wasn't really safe for me. Um, and then, when I'm in Hong Kong, then there were, you know, I've seen arguments and fights at home with my parents. Mom and dad were arguing, and it was usually about money. So then I developed this uh, unconscious pattern of like, oh, money, like I believe that I need to be a gazillionaire. Like, you need so much money to like be happy and survive. And all I wanted was the fighting and the money problems, and oh, we don't have money, and the chasing of money to stop. I just wanted it to stop. I just wanted some safety. I just wanted to feel safe. I just never felt safe. And then that was, further stretched. That feeling was further stretched because my dad always had the energy of like, we have no money. He would always come home and he would say, there's no money. We have no money. And he would have to support his family back in India as well. So he would send money to India, and then so he was the head of the family, not just for me as a father and a husband, but also as a father figure for his brothers and sisters and his mother back home and around the world. So he was always sending money. He was getting his siblings married, and he was donating money to back home, and like kind of. And so with us, with the family, with Hong Kong, with me and my mom and my brother, it was a lot of, I don't have money. And so there was almost this feeling of neglect at the same time. I have no qualms against him. He obviously was doing his best as well, to the best of his abilities, and I love him for that. But that's the kind of just situation to paint you a picture of what was going on. And so as a kid, I kind of developed a sense of like, money is everything. Like, money has to be earned, and like, you got to work hard. And my dad was almost never home really, because he ran his own business, a retail shop, selling electronics and stuff. And so he was always working, and at that time he was making decent money compared to the natural normal people. He was there, but also whatever money he was making, it was mostly being put into investments, buying a new property, buying a new house, paying down the mortgage, um, investing in some other business, and then even, business has risks. So sometimes he would take risks, and he would lose money, and he would lose a lot of money. And, so he had his own limiting beliefs and his own belief systems and his own problems and issues to deal with. But I then caught on to a lot of that. My mom had her own issues, and I caught on to a lot of that. And, it just catapulted, it just added on to like my own suffering that I had been through and was going through. And so I spent majority of my life like that until I graduated from high school, and I really began doing deep inner work, spiritual work, introspection work, shadow work, consciousness work. I started studying spirituality and enlightenment. I would listen to Alan Watts, I would listen to Pai Maskinji, I would listen to Jim Rohn, I would listen to all these kind of motivational and philosophical and spiritual leaders. I started studying Buddhism. I started studying Zen. I started, reading some Quran. I started looking at the Bible. I started looking at the Guru Granth Sahib. I went through resources. I studied and I studied and I studied. I, even started doing psychedelics to like start understanding consciousness and reality. And, I was really into just understanding like what's going on. Like, I want to achieve so much in my life. I know inside me there is so much potential, so much fire, so much capability. I have that sense that there's a soul inside me that really wants to live to the fullest, to be open, to be free, to, you know, open my arms like that and really just um, express myself. But I was the complete opposite. I was shy, I was timid, I was inward, I was, you know, shallow, I was scared, I was weak. I was afraid. I didn't want to step up. I didn't want to take the lead. I couldn't. Um, and and that's a very different place from where I am now, obviously. But that's one of the reasons why I call myself a major success. Um, because I have overcome all of this stuff. I have worked on all this stuff. I have changed my limiting beliefs. I have rewired my programming, my belief systems, and my understanding of myself and like who I truly am. And I've come to that understanding of like what this human body is for me, and what this mind is for me, and what my soul is, and like what the true nature of reality is, what God is, like spirituality, enlightenment, all this stuff, right? Um, but yeah, to, you know, make long story short, right? So that's kind of the experience I went through. And so, you know, there's a lot of limiting belief around money. There's never enough. There's no money. You know, uh, there's always a problem. You can't be happy. You got to work. You always have to be stressed out because that's how life is. You got to be stressed. You got to be under pressure. Uh, you have to be sad and not happy, and you have to be worried about what's going to happen with life. Whoa, how am I going to pay the bills? Like, that was so ingrained. That was so like taught to me, just through experience and osmosis and like diffusion and just picking up on people's vibes and energies. That's what I learned, and that's how I knew how to live. Not any longer, obviously, but that's kind of the initial beginning of how things began with my life. Now I'm 27, and at 27 years old, I think I've achieved quite a bit. You know, I've been trading for a prop firm for well about 7 years, I believe. I started trading for a prop firm in, I think, 2020, perhaps, or 2019, and I've been trading with them ever since. You know, and a lot of people in the trading world, in the prop firm space, and this is a real prop firm. These days there's, you know, a lot of evaluation prop firms that give you simulated accounts and fake accounts, not real money and stuff, and you know, you can pass those prop firms and get payouts that way. But the prop firm I'm working with and the prop firm I'm trading on behalf of is an old school prop firm. They legit deploy capital. They give traders capital. So I manage a desk on the Forex. I manage a Forex desk in the prop firm. So it's been about 6-7 years I've been trading prop firm. I've also been, you know, coaching people in terms of mindset, in terms of identity, in terms of even trading technical analysis, and just helping people get started with trading, or helping people build their trading systems or become profitable as traders, helping people achieve the life they want, the kind of overcome the barriers, the mental limitations, the identity beliefs that they have, change those so that they can actually get what they want. And I've been doing that for about the same amount of time. Like, these were my goals always. Like, I just wanted to be a trader, and I wanted to have my own coaching business and help others achieve their best life. And that's what I've been doing. In terms of money, I've not made a lot of money. I spend a lot of time like helping people for free because that's what I wanted to do. You know, I just wanted to help people, and I spent a lot of time working on myself because that was the only way to become a better trader. And you know, trading is such a high performance game that you need to eliminate all these limiting beliefs, and you really need to work on yourself to actually get the kind of results you want. And even in trading, it's been 7 years, but I'm nowhere near the goals I have set for myself in the trading space, right? And you know, um, the head coaches, the head traders at the firm, they tell me like, hey, what you're going through is normal. You're like on pace. You're doing great. And so many traders have come and gone in the trading, even in the firm that I'm trading with. Like, traders come and go just because they don't have the kind of development that I do. So I've not really generated I've not been the most profitable trader for the company, but at the same time, they've never let me go. They don't let me go, and they've let a lot of traders go because I have always followed good trading principles. I've followed my risk management. I've followed psychology and done the good work, and I've followed the plan. I've built systems. I've collected data. I've done all the good stuff. I've never really revenge traded and over leveraging and all this kind of poor habits that cause traders to kind of get kicked out of these kind of very prestigious trading firms. I've not been kicked out. In fact, I've been more and more closer with the head traders and the head coaches in the firm that really want me to succeed. And they are the ones that have told me to, like, hey, you are such a great human being. You're such a great coach. You're such a good teacher that you have to go and build your own business and start teaching. And that's kind of where my journey of like starting this coaching business and now doing this YouTube and like really getting myself out there and like marketing and doing the sales kind of started coming in. I had to start learning all these things because in a way, to become a better trader, I also had to become a better coach. I had to start helping others so that I can get more perspective and more nuanced in my own trading and in my own world and in my own trading accounts and just the kind of lifestyle that I want. I want the whole point for me to become a trader was to make a lot of money and to also be free, not be making a lot of money, but at the same time, I'm sacrificing my entire life, 12 hours a day working just to make that money, which is what normally people do. That's the route of the job, get a job. And I worked countless jobs, odd jobs, security guard, washing dishes, waiting tables, delivering food, being that delivery driver, loading and unloading fish for the fish market from trucks and stuff, working with my dad at my dad's store and like working for him and, working in the guest houses, doing hospitality and like whatever you can think of, I've probably done, cleaning floors, cleaning toilets, and the pay is minimal, zero pay, basically no pay. And for the most time, whatever money I did make, I'd have to just give it at home because up to this point, my dad was still very under this limiting belief of like, there's no money, we need money, you gotta go work money, it's no education, go work. And like, that was the whole thing. So I even dropped out of university because I just didn't see a point in it. Like, I can't go through that. I just need to make money. So the whole thing was just make money, which is, I think it's more like a Hong Kong thing. Since then, I've been able to travel. I've spent like close to 2 years. I spent 1 year, or was it, I think it was 11 months maybe. I think I spent 11 months traveling around India and living in India. So I got to experience a completely different world and see how different parts of the world people live in. Living in Hong Kong for 20 years, it kind of made me fall into the bubble of, high living, because Hong Kong is just this dystopian kind of place, honestly. It's just, everything is high standards, just like in the movies, like cyberpunk style. But when I went to travel to India, I traveled across India and I realized, hold on, whoa, there's so much poverty and there's just so much going on here that, this Hong Kong bubble has kind of made me believe and kind of live in a bubble that is not really real. It's just Hong Kong only. And then I lived in Thailand for about 5 months. And that also made me realize, like, wait, hold on, like, what is this? I've been looking at money all wrong. I've been looking at relationships all wrong. I've been looking at everything all wrong. Like, it's been all wrong. And so I have been fortunate and lucky enough to have the courage to like break out of my environment and like really push myself to gain more perspective. And that's really been such a journey, whereas everybody around me in Hong Kong were just, go university, get the master's degree, get the diploma, get the bachelor's degree, get a good job, secure a good job, get a good salary, have the decent pay, and now, get married, start a family. Like, that's kind of the whole notion around me with everybody else. And I want to get married. I want to start my own family. I would love that. But even now when that question comes up, then it's like, oh, what do you do for work? You know, what's your job? How much money do you make? And again, I can't really say, you know, I don't make all that much for now. Sometimes I make more, sometimes I make less, because it's my own business. I'm self-employed. And when it comes to just everything, I have no upper limit because it's my own thing. It's my own business, and I can scale my business to infinity. Well, not really, but you know, I can scale my business to what I want. And ideally, you know, I want to hit $1 million a month. Like that's my ideal, just across the board, just making $1 million a month. That's ideally what I want to hit. And the way I can do that is just growing my trading accounts, because again, I'm in such a fortunate position where somebody being broke, somebody having no money, somebody having no resource, somebody having no connections to trading world, I have been so fortunate and lucky to be around and kind of taken on and kind of seen and kind of picked up by some of the legends in the trading space, and then really being, you know, under their wing, really being trained and really being taken care of. So for me, I don't really have a capital issue, because again, you know, to become successful with trading and to make a lot of money with trading, obviously you need the skill and you need to generate positive returns in the markets. But positive returns on like a small account, like right now I have a $2,000 account, US dollars, in my trading account. And you know, I can do 1%, 2% a month. That's cool. On my Forex account, so you know, stocks and options, that's a different account. Forex account, that's a different account. Crypto, different account. Like, so I can do 1 to 2%. Let's say specifically for Forex, I can do 1 to 2% on that trading account. But it's $2,000. So on $2,000, if I make 1% in a month, that's like $20. Is it? Yeah, it's like $20. And so I can't live off that, let alone like in a third world country. I can't even live off that in Hong Kong. It's impossible. I need at least a minimum of $2,000 in Hong Kong, a minimum. And that's just for food and just surviving food stuff, like rent and all this is, in Hong Kong, $2,000 is just rent money, basically. You know, so I do need a lot more money, and I'm in a very fortunate place that I do have the backing for the money. It's just that I have to be consistent and produce consistent high watermarks in my trading accounts for my coaches and the traders, the head traders at the firm, to, you know, fund me with more capital. They, you know, because it's a training process. I cannot be just trusted and given $1 million to trade with just off the get-go, because it's the same like as I was a kid. You know, we have to develop bit by bit. And so the stage I'm at, I have to break out of this stage and like develop little by little, so that the change is not so huge that it breaks me. And that's the process I'm going through right now, where I'm developing all my systems and building all my processes and like really achieving little gains bit by bit, to really develop my skill set and my maturity and my experience and myself as the trader who can manage more and then manage more and then manage more. And so I'm at that process where I am really really far ahead from most traders and in a very professional environment, but at the same time, according to my own standards and my needs, nowhere near where I need to be. And then same with the coaching business. You know, I have so much imposter syndrome, so much like, how can I help them? How can I help somebody? Like so many identity crises, you know, like so much self sabotage and just looking down upon myself. And so as a coach, you know, I have to be a leader. I have to be vulnerable. I have to be, you know, out there. I have to help people. I have to really put myself in their shoes, which comes very natural to me. I'm very empathetic and I really care about people. And that's why coaching for me is my way to go, as like generating income and generating the life I want, because I can set my own hours. I can work when I want, when I don't want. I enjoy helping people, so I love working with clients. But here what I had to learn was, one, I had to learn how to coach. So I had to go through that. That was years of training of how to actually help somebody and like be where they are, where my client is, and then stepping into their shoes and then really helping them with, this is the exact thing you need. Because, you know, if you are on YouTube or you're on Instagram or you're learning some online course or some material, the knowledge you get, the advice you get is so generic. It's not specific. And you need specific advice. And I've been fortunate enough, even though it's been so painful and so terrible, but I've been fortunate enough to have gone through the entire, you know, mental rewiring, the psychological rewiring, the building of technical analysis in the charts, the building of a business, the building of, you know, an entrepreneurial mind, the building of a strength in my own character, the breaking out of my own limiting beliefs, the, you know, following my own path while everybody's doubting and judging me, and I'm afraid and I'm also having doubts and I'm scared, but I'm still going the way that, you know, God intends for me and the visions I have. And I'm like Moses, I'm like Jesus, like following the path. Like, this is set for me, and despite how much pain, you know, God is gonna split the water for me so I can cross the river. Like, that's the kind of person I am, where I have so much faith. And in general, most people don't. You know, people just go through fear, and they live their entire life with fear, and they, you know, settle for that secure job because, you know, they don't know if they're gonna make it if they do their own thing, and what's gonna happen. It's the unknown, it's scary. And so I've been through that, and I still do go through that. I'm just a lot better at it. And so then I had to, you know, learn marketing. This is part of marketing, doing this video and sharing my story and all this. And then I had to go through, you know, sales. How do I do sales? How do I have a sales conversation? How do I actually convert a buyer, a prospect, into actually committing money and paying me money, and then actually saying that, you know, I commit to change my life, and then I can actually help them. There's been such a huge process to learn and go through, and that's just where I'm at right now in life, where I see myself as so massively successful. I am so happy with my life. I live every day um, according to my own rules. I live every day happy. You know, when I smile, like, I have these now. Like, once upon a time, I was just a frown. I was just sad all the time. And now I have wrinkles around my eyes because I'm so happy. I genuinely live every single moment, every single present moment, as if this is it. This is, you know, this is it. There's nothing outside of this present moment. Like, if I stopped breathing, you know, just think of this. Like, the moment you stop breathing, you're dead. And yet we don't even consciously think about our breathing process, and we still continue to breathe. We don't think about making our heart beat or making our lungs do what lungs do, but they're still functioning. We don't think about, you know, making the world stay rotating around the sun so that it doesn't fall off into the space, but it's still happening. And that's the kind of awareness I'm at, where it's, you know, life is life. And as much as you want to control it, as much as I want to control it and try and, you know, force results and make things happen, things are going to happen the way they're going to happen. And so what if you just stopped forcing? What if you just let it be? What if you just followed the vision, the heart, the thing that your heart wants? What if you just followed that and then figured out how to monetize that, how to make money while doing what you actually want with your life and the things that you love doing? What if you could do that? You know, but that takes a mindset, that takes a performance, that takes a identity shift. And, you know, the fish in the sea doesn't know that it's in the sea. To the fish, the sea is all it knows. You know, you bring it out of the sea and it's like, whoa, there's a whole new world out here. We're the same way. We're no different from the fish, you know. And that's been my life journey, where I am now at a point where I can't go back to working a regular 9-to-5 job or working for anybody else. I simply can't, because I've just come such a long way. I've developed so many skills in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of trading, in terms of investing, in terms of serving people and helping people achieve their goals and desires and overcome their own limitations in life, that I can't go back to a job because I am afraid of where's the money going to come from. Because it's been about, I don't know how long it's been. It's probably been 2 to 3 years since I've worked the job. I've just been surviving off of either trading income or business income. And it is what it is, right? I'm not fancy yet. I'm not making a doctor's salary yet. I'm not making the $1 million a month I want yet. But I'm satisfied. I'm really happy. I'm very proud of myself. I've never been able to be proud of myself, but now I am. I am tremendously proud of myself. And, and I want that for humanity. I want everyone to be proud of themselves, regardless of what the situation is, whether you think you're good enough, whether you think you have the self-worth or not, you do. As long as you're a human being and you're alive, you are worthy. You are worth it. But we are fed by society and the matrix, and we get lost in the sauce. We are chasing expectations and doing all these unconscious behaviors just to kind of fit in. And for me, I've never really fit in. I've always consciously decided that I'm going to be different. I'm going to do things the way I'm doing things. I'm not going to follow the norm, because the norm doesn't satisfy my lifestyle needs, the way I want to live, the way I want to see myself and live my life. I don't want to have regrets when I'm 80 and 90 and on my deathbed and regretting that, oh, I should have chased my goals or gone after my dreams and the kind of life I wanted. I don't want that. And I just don't. And so I've been very vulnerable, very putting myself out there, and it's scary sometimes, because it's oh, you have to be perfect, you have to be making $1 million a month from your trading so that other people will want to learn trading from me and actually respect me as a coach and trust me as a coach to help them, or I have to have my coaching business making $1 million a month so that others, I have status in the world and I have a standing in the world, otherwise I'm a useless human being. That kind of thinking process, I've just kind of let go, and I'm just saying, hey, I'm gonna teach you everything for free. Whatever the gurus out there are teaching you for 5,000, 7,000 US dollars course money, I'm gonna teach you all of that for free. And the only thing I'm charging for is implementation, where I'm not even going to work with you and give you a course. Hey, go and watch the course. No, it's literally going to be one-on-one. We'll work one-on-one. We'll have group coaching every single week, but we'll have one-on-one calls. We'll have the courses too, but we will have the one-on-one calls. I've paid whatever money I've made. So I didn't go to university. I'm not in debt on university, but whatever money I made from whatever jobs I did and whatever I could save up, I invested. $5,000 on this coaching program, $5,000 on this one, $6,000 on this one, $3,000 on this one, $2,000 for this, learning how to do sales, learning how to do marketing, learning how to make videos, learning how to storytell, learning how to trade Forex and crypto, learning how to trade stocks and options, learning how to change my mindset and my limiting beliefs, and psychiatrists and therapy and coaching and hiring teams to work for me to actually help me do all this stuff, the marketing and the sales, and helping me take some burden off my shoulders. I've spent all the money I've made and I've reinvested it into myself. And so in a way, I'm broke almost, because I've just reinvested whatever I've made into myself. I've been my greatest asset. And now I'm at a point where my stock value has increased so much that I no longer really have the fear of how am I gonna make my ends meet, which I used to have for a very long time. Now it's more so dude, it's been 2 years and I've been afraid for 2 years, how am I gonna survive? How am I gonna make money? Yet God pulls through every time, and yeah, so in society's eyes, I am quite the failure, and it's sad. I'm quite lonely and alone, because there's just not anyone that can relate to my life's experience. And yet, I, continued to put my faith in the universe, in God, continue to walk this very lonely, alone path, getting scarred by, the unknown, the walking alone in the jungle and surviving in the jungle, and, really just fending for myself and fighting for the vision that God has set for me, and really just trusting that I'm taken care of, and I am. As a kid, I didn't believe it. I couldn't, because I thought I needed control, because if I let go of control, then fuck, my parents are going to leave me again. Like, how am I going to survive? I'm just this little kid. And now I'm at a point where I have so much faith. I have zero fear. I am afraid sometimes because I am human, and there is that ego that comes in, and the old limiting beliefs come up from time to time for me to work on, But I just live with so much faith that I've never been let down. God has never really let me fall down so badly that I couldn't get back up. I've always been able to get back up by some miracle. There's no money in the bank. I don't know how I'm going to survive this month. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I don't know how I'm going to get my next meal. Suddenly a client comes in. Suddenly somebody sends me money. Suddenly my head coach and the head traders in the firm, they send me money. Because they're like, hey, dude, you're doing fucking great. Just keep it up. Like, I'm here to help you. And there's always been something. I've traveled the world with almost no money. I've traveled across India with almost no money in the bank. I've traveled across Thailand with almost no money in the bank. How? I've lived in other people's houses. I've lived on the floor. I've lived on the streets. I've eaten food at the gurdwaras. Like, life has just taught me so much, and life has always taken care of me. And I want you to know that life is taking care of you too. It's just our ego mind and our brain that thinks that, if we don't control things, if we let go of control, then we can't survive. But that's not true. You must listen to your heart. You must listen to the vision, the dreams, the goals that God's implanting into you, the whispers. That's what I want in my life. That's the kind of goal I'll have. You must follow that. And when you do, you don't know how your life is going to unfold. You don't know when you're going to become successful, but you will. All you have to do is know what you want and why you want it. And as long as you know these things, the rest is on God. God is taking care of you. This is one of the things I learned in India, where I was having this pilgrimage almost kind of trip. And one of the sayings I learned is, take the first step and God will take the next 10 for you. And that's been my experience. I've taken one step, and I wouldn't even take the credit for taking my one step. It's been God who's taken the step on my behalf. And then it's been God who's done things that are completely out of my control, that I cannot even think about, comprehend in my brain, but it's happened. Life has just molded itself and shifted itself in a way that's played out for me. And I guess, yeah, that's been my life journey. So in the eyes of society, I'm quite the failure, but in the eyes of God, I am successful beyond measure. And so, I spend most of my time just with God. And I wouldn't want anything else. God is all I truly want. Just to be with God. Because that's where my peace is. That's where my security is. That's where my safety is. That's where my, comfort is. Relying and trusting in this world is not a wise choice. Relying and trusting on God and just the miracles that God presents man, the things I've manifested in my life is crazy. It's crazy. Not everybody gets to be part of one of the most prestigious trading firm and, be so well connected and so well, with such deep relationships with people with such deep pockets and such wisdom and such success in their life that are hell-bent on training me to become like them, to get to their level. Not everybody's that fortunate. And what was that if not God's miracle, who just created situations around my life where I just ended up under their wing. Even though I'm cleaning dishes and, cleaning toilets and making, I don't know, like $500 a month when I need at least 3,000 US dollars a month to survive, and I'm surviving on 500. That's kind of been my experience, where it's all God. I just leave it to God, and God's always taken care of me, always, always. Even when I've been in other countries and traveling the world, and I don't even have money on me, and yet here I am. I've traveled the world. I've experienced such amazing things. I've met the most beautiful people. I've met the most beautiful women. I've had the most beautiful experiences. I've been to the most beautiful places. How? How is that possible? Just because I did not let my fear stop me from the uncertainty of how am I going to pull this off? How is it going to happen? Instead, I just took that leap of faith always. Just like how with this video, it's a leap of faith. Is this going to make, get 1 view, 0 views? I don't know. But this is what it is. This is me. So my name is Harjot Singh. I am a performance coach. I help you shift your identity. I help you fix your lifestyle. I help you fix your, what your goals are, get clear on them, and what do you actually want versus what you are currently going through, and how do we bridge that gap? How do I get you close to the life that you want instead of the life that you have? In terms of trading, if you want to start your trading business, I help you with that. If you're already trading but you're somewhat unsuccessful or don't understand how professionals do it, what a professional trading firm does and works and looks like, and what it actually means to be a professional trader, then I also help you with performance there, building your systems and building your techniques and technicals with business, just an all-round holistic life in terms of what are your actual goals with fitness, with relationships, with trading, with some other business or your job, you want to climb the corporate ladder. Whatever that is for you, I help you achieve that by rewiring your brain and your mindset, working on your subconscious really, and just working on that. I'm also a prop trader, and I trade on behalf of Maverick Trading. You can go look it up online. They're a very prestigious trading firm, very expensive to get into. And yeah, I'm also a son. I'm also wanting to be a husband. I'm wanting to be a father. I'm also a member of just the society in Hong Kong. I'm a human being. I love to travel. I travel a lot. I invest a lot of money into myself and assets like the stock market or property and stuff like that. I'm an athlete. I trained Muay Thai in Thailand for 5 months, and so I'm quite into fitness, and yeah, there's just a lot. I'm extremely spiritual, and I meditate and I pray and I do consciousness work and I do spiritual work. I do journaling, and I love playing video games too. I love spending time with my family and my loved ones. And yeah, so that's me. My name is Harjot Singh, and I have a very fulfilled life. I live extremely grateful and blessed, such that even if, God said, hey, your time has come. Like right now, you're going to get a heart attack. Game's over for you. I'm happy with that. I'm proud of myself. I haven't achieved the kind of success, materialistic success that I want to, not yet at least. But regardless, So far, the human that I have become, I believe I have impacted at least one, like if not somebody else, I've impacted myself and really taken myself out of a very deep, dark hole. And so I started my life from negative 100 and now I'm at 0. And I'm going to 100. And this is my journey, this is my life. And I love you so much. I love myself so much. I am so grateful that you are watching this video, and if you've watched it thus far, then I am truly grateful. I cannot appreciate you enough. I wish you the absolute best. And I'll be posting 3 YouTube videos a week. I have started a coaching program. That means I have hired, or I've started following a coach that helps other coaches grow and scale their coaching business. I've reached a plateau in my trading. I've reached a plateau in my coaching business. And now I'm seeking this help. And he's the one who's told me to start doing what I'm doing right now and make this YouTube video like this. And so, again, just another investment into myself, right? But in society's eyes, I'm such a failure because where's your money, bro? How much money you make, bro? You want to get married? Like, how much money you make, bro? Nobody's going to marry you because you're useless, because you make no money. It's not true, but I suppose that's how society views it. But I know it's not true. So anyways, I thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next video, which will probably be a day from now. All right? I love you so much. Please hit the subscribe and like button, and I'll catch you on another one. All right? Bye.